Sony has had a fantastic year with TVs. We have already reviewed Bravia 9, 8 and 7, which were all quite impressive, but they were also expensive or premium options. So yes, we were very eager to test the Bravia 3, which is more accessible in the mid-range and should be available as a great deal this festival season. Does Bravia 3 also retains the Sony magic despite a relatively lower price? Well, we'll answer that and more in this review. Let's start with the quality of the display. Our review sample has a good quality 65-inch VA LCD panel with a native contrast of around 4400:1. We must also mention that the different variants like the 55-inch model may have an IPS LCD panel with relatively shallower blacks. The VA panel used here doesn't mean that you'd have to compromise with viewing angles. We did notice a loss of luminance and color shift off axis, but this is perfectly acceptable. From extreme angles, this becomes a problem. The display is not overly reflective and there is no local dimming on Bravia 3. This has a direct LED backlight. You do get Sony's frame dimming technology, which performed better than expected and can noticeably elevate the experience in dark scenes. Gamut coverage numbers point to the use of quantum dot technology. The panel can reproduce almost 100% of the Rec 709 color space and color volume used for SDR content. As for HDR, the Bravia 3 supports 94% of DCI-P3 coverage and 69% of BD 2020 coverage in UV terms, which is slightly better than what you'd get with most QLED TVs in this budget. On a 10% window, the Bravia 3 can go around 410 nits bright. This is relatively less than what you'd expect from TVs in this budget and also limits the HDR impact to an extent. But Sony uses the available dynamic range very wisely, as we'll also discuss in the next section. The professional mode is the most accurate preset with a white point close to industry standard D65. Those who prefer cooler tones and boosted colors would prefer vivid or standard mode. These modes are also tastefully boosted without making skin tones and other critical colors look overly unnatural. Unlike higher-end Bravia models, calibrated modes for different apps like Prime calibrated mode or Netflix calibrated mode have unfortunately not made the cut. The color accuracy is still excellent on Bravia 3. In HDR, we recorded an average delta error of 2.3 and a maximum delta error of 5.4 out of the box in the professional mode. In HDR, skin tones and other critical memory colors are rendered accurately. The TV also does a great job with grayscale details and can map luminance in dark and bright scenes masterfully, which is something tough to find on mid-range TVs. As for HDR, the TV supports Dolby Vision and HDR10 formats. We recorded an average delta error of 2.4 and a maximum delta error of 4.8, which is excellent. Sony does really well with the available brightness and dynamic range. For instance, in this dark scene, the blazing fire and the torch have sufficient HDR impact, something we didn't expect considering just 400 nits of peak brightness. Mixed APL HDR scenes and dark HDR scenes are also handled nicely. This dark hallway in Severance, for instance, is not easy to get right for most TVs. Where we do find the TV struggle is with overly bright scenes like bright hallways in Severance or scenes with snow. Such predominantly bright scenes with lots of white lack that pop which you'd get on brighter TVs. Motion smoothing is enabled by default in Dolby Vision and several other presets. If you want to reduce the soap opera effect while keeping motion fluid, head to the motion flow settings under advanced picture settings and set smoothness to 1 in the custom preset. Personally, I used to disable motion smoothing entirely, but Sony handles motion really well at smoothness 1, so I decided to stick with it. And finally, Bravia 3 did a great job of scaling legacy content. This TV is not particularly snappy, but it didn't feel slow either. The playback controls worked reasonably smooth. We did not notice any unexpected jitters while switching between apps. The XR processor is backed by 16 GB of storage, so that gives a little headroom for performance to stay as is in the long run. The Google TV software is based on Android 12 and Sony has added several useful customizations. The picture customization options and menu are not as detailed as what you'd get on higher-end models starting from Bravia 7. Casting and screen mirroring works seamlessly across Android and iOS devices. The TV supports Apple AirPlay, Apple HomeKit and Chromecast built-in. The far-field microphone and voice commands also worked well. For gaming, we tested the Sony Bravia 3 with Sony PS5 and games like Ghost of Tsushima, God of War and Witcher 3. Before you start setting up your PS5, make sure to switch the HDMI signal format to enhanced format. With PS5 features, we didn't expect that we'd have to do this manually. The TV supports ALLM and HDR gaming at 4K UHD resolution. High refresh rate and VRR are not supported. PS5 can automatically adjust HDR parameters like maximum brightness and optimum dark details based on the Bravia 3 panel, and you can further fine-tune the bright and dark levels. The gameplay felt perfectly smooth and the colors also felt reasonably accurate. Bravia 3 manages pretty decent audio output from its 20-watt speaker system, but yes, 20 watts still feels a little underwhelming at this price point. Dialogue clarity was above average and we didn't notice much distortion at high volumes. For a better surround sound experience, you will need to invest in an external sound system. Now the Bravia 3 has a very familiar Sony design with minimal distractions on the front. The bezels are narrow on 3 sides. The back of the TV also has a clean look with a checkered board pattern. All frequently used connectivity ports are side facing for convenient access. After purchase, you can request a tabletop installation or a wall mount installation, both of which will be free. The remote is the classic Sony remote. This is a very ergonomic remote that is comfortable to hold and operate and has all the necessary buttons in the right places. So to sum it up, the Sony Bravia 3 is a thoughtfully engineered mid-range TV that delivers impressive color accuracy, strong HDR performance and a refined HDR experience. It's clear that Sony has put in considerable effort to maximize the potential of the hardware, and during this review I could appreciate every now and then how much serious work has gone into doing justice to the creator's intent and preserving the nuances of picture quality. One downside at this price is that the peak brightness is not very high, which limits the pop in bright HDR sequences. Performance in dark and mixed HDR sequences is still pretty impressive. Solid gaming capabilities further add to its appeal. So overall, the Bravia 3 offers a great experience for those who prioritize accuracy and consistency in their viewing. Of course, the Bravia 7 is better, but if you can't stretch your budget, the Bravia 3 is something I can wholeheartedly recommend. Hope you like this video, and if you have more questions, ask us right away in the comment section below. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel. It helps us keep motivated. Thanks again for watching and see you soon in the next one.